Hi, you're back with Judy and Rich, and we live in Central Florida. And today we're going to talk about how cruddy contractors are and all the problems that we've had. All right, not all the problems that we've had with contractors, just a few highlights and some of the things that you may want to consider doing before hiring somebody to work in your home here in Florida, which is, in our opinion, the rip-off central of the universe. If you're a contractor and you want to take advantage of unsuspected people, come to Florida.
Yep, it's Scam Central.
Yep, Scam Central. All right.
Scam Central Florida is where we live. Scam Central Florida.
So let's start with what's the genesis behind this, which is what happened to Dee and Pinnacle Pools.
Right.
Pinnacle Pools is a pool. We haven't had any interaction with them whatsoever. So let's start by saying everything is secondhand. But our very good friends who live down the road a little ways have had a really miserable interaction with Pinnacle Pools.
Yeah.
What's it been like for them?
It's been horrible. They
How much money have they spent, first of all? Let's start with that. First of all, these people are not building a pool. They already had a pool and wanted the pool simply resurfaced, and a few things changed.
and the deck changed
And the
because
deck
there were too many levels, and they wanted it one level so that they wouldn't trip, like basic stuff.
Right. And so how much was the contract for? Like 120?
Something like that, yeah.
A lot of money. And how much do they spend?
I think the full amount.
And how much do they have done? The whole thing. Just the deck, that's it.
Yeah.
And when Dee said that all they had left to do was the deck, I was just like, but the deck is the most important thing.
I know.
And so what's happened with them?
I think that they paid them the money hoping that they would finish the job, and they've delivered pavers that have been sitting on their front lawn for about 2.5 weeks.
Was it 2.5? I think it's more like a month and a half.
Oh, I don't think it's a month and a half.
It's more than 2.5 weeks for
think
sure.
so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's been no movement on them. She said that they had to order caulking, I think.
But how long has this project been going on?
It's been going on for a long time. It was supposed to be finished in 6 weeks, and it's been months. I think it was supposed to be finished by October, something like that.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
It was supposed to finish in October.
And it's still going on.
I can't believe it. So, and they had a really big contract, right?
Yep.
And what happened? They didn't read it.
The contractor kept on changing the terms and amending the contract and charging them for amending the contract, which I think is appalling. But just really, really sleazy things like taking people's money and just subcontracting different parts of the project out to different companies.
Without supervision.
Without supervision.
That messed things up.
That didn't do the proper job. So it's
Because structural issues
yeah.
that now need to be resolved,
Yep.
for which they need to spend more money.
Yeah. So it's been rough for them.
But we've experienced the same thing, and I don't want to go into our building nightmares, which are plentiful, but let's just talk about something silly, like getting your trees cut.
Yeah, getting your trees cut.
Many people here will hire a service, they'll cut the trees, they'll come and say, okay, we'll be by in the morning to pick it up, but can we have the bulk of our payment now, and you could pay us some small amount in the morning when we come to pick it up. And many people will either just pay the whole thing outright because they were happy with the service and realize there's only a little bit left, or they'll pay pay the vast amount with only a little bit left, and then they never come and pick up the rest of the refuge. That happens to everybody, correct?
Yep. Once they've made enough money on a job, if they won't finish it.
And the finishing is actually the hardest part, that last mile. It's not only the last mile for like internet lines and so on and so forth, it's that last yard, especially if you're somebody like me who has extensive back problems, and it's very, very difficult. We really rely upon people doing the job because I cannot bend at all, and I'm in constant pain.
So we have beautiful oak trees around our home, And a couple of years ago, we had someone come and trim the limbs, and he did a magnificent job, really beautiful job.
In fact, we
So-
actually gave him a $500 bonus
Because
and
we were
gave
so
the
happy.
3 people that were working for him each $50.
Yeah,
So
we were very happy with
we were
his,
very, very happy.
with his work. So we have trees in the backyard. So they were needed to be pruned and trimmed and taken care of because they were growing all crazy. And we hired the same person, and he came back
First of all,
a
it
couple
took
months later.
right. It took him a couple of months to get to us.
And we waited for him because we were pleased with the job that he did before. And the trees aren't life or death. So we said, you know what, we'll wait for this guy. We know he does a good job.
Exactly.
And he came back with a different crew that didn't know what they were doing and did
They were
not.
very, very confused.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the job, he's just like, listen, it's more than I expected. I'm going to have to charge you more. So instead of it being this amount, he charged me $1,000 more because he said that he didn't anticipate taking down a tree. And what happened is that we were so scared because his crew were so unprofessional and we thought that they were going to hurt themselves. We actually didn't want them to continue. But when they were done with taking down the tree, which was only part of the job, the other part of the job was the removal of other things, like we had a crepe myrtle. And if you know anything about crepe myrtles, they're just impossible to take down.
Yeah, they'll survive anything.
Oh, they'll survive us for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those trees are
humanity will be, that's it. But
They're-
those
they're
trees,
hardy. They're
no
hardy.
problem. And so what happened? He never took that down.
He
He never pruned the trees that he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he asked for more money than what we felt was reasonable
Well, he
for the
tri-
job.
He trimmed the trees, but not well enough at all. I mean, they need to be trimmed again.
Well, he actually didn't.
Yeah.
He did not trim the tree in that corner over there.
he didn't?
No, he didn't trim it at all. Remember, we just were happy that he got out of here.
Yeah, we were
He
so
took-
worried that his workmen were going to hurt themselves because one of his workmen literally had a an electric saw hanging from a string from his waist while he was climbing up. So
Yeah, but it was on, and it was a
that-
chainsaw, and it was
Oh, a
not.
chainsaw,
It was
yeah,
a chainsaw.
chainsaw.
And while it's normal to do that, him to climb up with the chainsaw was in such a way that it could have cut his leg off. It was not done in a professional manner. We've seen other
crazy.
tree people climb trees, but never like this.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were so nervous when they were working. We just couldn't wait for them to leave because we were afraid they were going to hurt themselves.
And we
on-
paid
on-
the
on
and we
our
paid the
property.
individual more than what the service was actually worth because we were getting so disgusted with him not showing up. We actually asked for some competitive bids, and all came in to about the same amount of money as his bid came in. So we stuck with him. But then when he wanted more for that job and it was not done to completion, so we never used him again. So that's
Yeah, so we'll never use
so that's a way that workmen make sure that they never come back to a good gig. He could have had this year after year after year, and it would be easy. It would be just some pruning of the trees, pulling them to the sides, and he would have made some decent money.
Yep.
Another thing is
And he lost out because we have a wooden fence in our backyard, and it needed to repair, and part of it needed to be replaced.
and he does that type of work.
And he does that type of work. So we told him, you know, when he first started working, we're going to need our fence redone. Maybe you can help us with that. But of course, after he didn't
Bobbled
do,
that job and charged us
didn't do our
more.
trees, you know, the way we wanted, we're not going to have him fix our fence because, you know, we'll never have him back again.
Right, never have him back again. And then talk about Mike.
Yeah, Mike, he's our landscaper. He's supposed to be taking care of our property.
He's a complete disappointment. This guy's the biggest frickin' blow-off. So you have to understand that the way it works in Florida is typically landscapers like to even out their billing practice. So they'll charge you, like, for example, we're getting charged about $250 for our property for somebody to come by and just do general property maintenance, mowing the lawns and the edging and trimming of the, whatever.
Of like bushes or whatever.
Yeah, bushes and so forth. So light trimming and that sort of stuff.
Very light trimming.
And of course, you have to take care of the leaves because we have oak trees. The leaves fall and they have to be...
And we have several oak trees and they fall all over the place. And
They have to be taken care of.
they have to be taken care of. And you have to take them care of, idealistically, you should take them of them as they fall, because if you wait till the end,
It's too much.
It's insane the amount of leaves.
Right.
It's insane.
It needs consistent attention. So anyway, so here in Florida, here's the deal. In the wintertime, the grass doesn't grow, and there's really nothing to be done. So the person still gets the same amount of money month in, month out. And the reality is that what's supposed to happen is that when the springtime comes, there's supposed to be Johnny on the spot and make sure that the property looks good.
The spring cleaning,
Yeah.
the spring cleaning of the yard.
And the spring cleaning of the yard is really something that should be included because the person's done no work all winter long. But regardless, we're not cheap, we're more than happy to spend a couple of extra dollars and have the yard properly cleaned. But I can't do it because of my back. I cannot bend, I cannot lift, I cannot twist, I can barely walk. It is problematic. And we rely upon people to do the job that we had originally contracted them for. So did Mike do the job?
Not in the least.
He had to hire somebody. And we got a nasty gram from the HOA.
Yep.
So it became an entire problem.
And that we told him about.
And
we
we
said,
co-
don't let it happen again.
But it happened again,
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. And this time when I contacted him, I was just like, hey, Mike, where are you? He's just like, oh, I was just there this Wednesday. He was here for like 10 minutes, not even. Enough.
And if we
he was here
couldn't
long enough to say that he
was
was here. But that's different than being here and taking care of your responsibilities.
And we couldn't even tell that he had been here.
Right.
Which is like, he's like, we were here. We're like, really?
So when somebody contacts you and doesn't notice that you're here and then is talking about a problem, namely the leaves, you would think that the next week you'd show up and take care of the problem.
Nope.
But did he show up?
Nope.
Didn't
Nope.
show up.
Didn't show up.
He's going to show up next week expecting to get paid, isn't he?
I'm sure.
And we have to have a discussion about expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to find somebody new for next year.
I agree.
Because this isn't the first time he's done stuff like this.
He's
And then what I dislike most, and this is so classic, is that he brought a helper with him. When he brought
yeah.
the helper with him, the helper wound up destroying 3 of our,
sprinkler heads.
and cut the,
Landscape wiring for the lights.
now I can't bend to rewire this stuff. And to hire somebody to come to fix those
Sprinkler heads.
is really expensive. So I spoke to him about it. I said, Mike, the person who you had come and cut our lawn messed our stuff up.
Right.
And we would like you to install new sprinkler heads. Is that something you can do? I actually bought the sprinkler heads.
Yep.
They're about $14 a piece. They're not that expensive. So I felt that it was reasonable
To ask
for
him
him
to
ask him to
replace
repair
them.
what was broken. We're not asking him to even to spend money on the things. He says, you know what he said to me? Wasn't me. Not me. I didn't do it. So I said, somebody else did it then? He's just like, yep, somebody else did it. And sure enough, somebody else did do it. And when I said to him, somebody else
was on our property mowing a lawn that he didn't tell us, he didn't
he said-
inform us
and-
that he wasn't going to be there,
and-
they were sending somebody else.
And he said it wasn't me, I was there every time. And he was right, he was there. He was there with a different person. And the different
Person ruined the sprinklers.
and he wasn't straight with us. And we weren't asking for a whole lot. The aspect that I was asking for was the one thing that I could not do on my own. I couldn't bend to dig it up to replace it. It's really easy, you just screw it back in. It's not a hard thing to do, and it's a matter of positioning the head so that it gets so that it waters the grass. But that would have been a very reasonable thing. But now we have hard feelings because we had to call a sprinkler company to do something very simple, and it was over $400.
Because people.
Because he wasn't honest and he didn't want to work with me, and he's just, how angry can you be at this person? Because the reality is that he's getting up there in age, right?
Yeah.
He's not a spring chicken. and this is all he does, how much money can you honestly earn mowing people's lawns? Assuming he charges every single person he works for $225, which we know he doesn't. He didn't even charge the other house, he let it slip that he was charging them $150, and it's the same size house.
Yeah, all the houses in this neighborhood have the same size property.
The only difference
So there
is
shouldn't
that
be
some
any-
houses are a little bit larger, and the houses that are a little bit larger have less property.
Have less property to take care of, obviously, but they're all the same size. So basically, everything should be consistent when you're charging.
Yeah. And it hasn't been.
Yeah.
So basically, whenever you do something, you have to read your contracts, because we went to have our roof done and tell them what happened.
Yep. We had damage on our roof, and we called different roofers, and we went with one company.
Which was a good company,
And-
but they sent us a contract.
They sent us a contract, and my husband is very good at reading contracts because he did it his whole life, business contracts. And he's like, Jude, they're not going to put the gutters back on. So I'm like, you're kidding. So he's like, no, they're not going to put the gutters back on.
And a bunch of
So-
other stuff.
And a bunch of other stuff. So Rich called them up, and he's like, dude, if you don't do this,
We don't have a deal.
we don't have a deal.
I said, when we talked about our roof getting done, we talked about the roof getting done and put back into the same exact functional
Yeah.
as it was when they found it. And
We
since
took
we
it-
have
we-
gutters now, we expect gutters after the roof was done.
Yeah.
They wanted to give us a roof without gutters. Can you imagine such a thing? We see homes without gutters, but
Yeah,
it
it's
never
not,
works out
it's
well.
not good for the home.
It's really not good for the
Not-
home.
It's not good for the home not to have gutters.
Yeah.
It-
Erodes away see here in Florida, there's no rock. You only have sand. So the water will erode away the sand. It's the craziest thing. If you ever want to pass, for example, electrical cord underneath your driveway.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. You take a big PVC,
Right.
run water through it. It basically makes a hole, and you pass it through, and you could pass a whole entire PVC pipe with water running through
It's
it.
all
And then
sand.
once you pass the PVC pipe through with the water, you take off the hose, you pass the wire through the PVC, and there you go. You just ran your wire underneath, because it's all sand. People don't realize this, but Florida is all sand. Where we lived in New York,
It's all rock.
in fact, the town over from us was called,
Granite Springs.
yeah. So it's so weird here that there's not any rock. So literally your house can kind of float away because it's built on a slab. What people don't realize who live north is that they have a foundation. Essentially, our first floor is the foundation.
Right, right.
It's all made of concrete. So our first floor is made
Which
of
is
concrete.
wonderful, but they should do that with the second floor, but they don't.
Which
For
is
whatever
silly,
reason,
because
they really should put concrete on the second floor. It would make the house so much,
Because they need to protect it against,
the winds, the hurricanes. and
the
everything.
hurricanes.
'Cause
Yeah, if they did that,
Because they're substantial here.
right, and then that would help lower the cost of insurance, because you don't realize it, but people think Florida is so inexpensive. It's not. You have expenses elsewhere, like our homeowners insurance
Yeah.
is so much more expensive than it is in New York. And it's so much easier for your home to get destroyed.
Yeah.
But the whole point being is that when you move to Florida, if you ever engage with an organization, what you need to do is read through the contract very, very carefully. You must read the fine print. And I know I'm saying something that's obvious, but what you can even do is photocopy it, give it to AI, all right? And don't use Croc. Croc has problems. Use something good like Gemini. Gemini or Claude or even ChatGPT would be pretty good at doing this type of work. So if you have a hard time reading contracts, and believe me, a lot of people do. I have a hard time reading anything. So don't feel bad about it. Do that. And find the points, make sure that you negotiate it, and remember, they need your business more than you need them.
Yeah.
And make sure that if it's a contract, it's set up where at least 50% of the monies are not due until the very, very end, and everything is the way it's supposed to be. Not 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
Yeah.
No.
Because that leaves them with
Too much
the
money.
ability to walk away.
Right at the time you don't want to. And then another guy comes in and he says, well, they left you with it half done. I need to charge you, twice the amount.
I mean, it's crazy. We have a neighbor that said that he was having construction done on his house, and the crew left for lunch and never came back, and left the scaffolding and everything, and just never came back. Never came back.
And it's not that they're being mistreated.
They just found a different job that paid more.
Exactly.
And then they just leave.
And they just left. So, I mean, there's a lot of flaky stuff that goes on. So what I'm suggesting to you is that you make sure that you set that up, you abide by that, you make sure in the contracts there's no fine print that says, in the event of this, this, and this, we're able to charge you more because this, and this will always happen.
If they can charge you more.
Yeah, if they can charge you more. So whatever that event is, no matter how minuscule you think that event can happen, guaranteed it's going to happen to you if you have that clause in your contract. These guys are very unscrupulous. Yet there's a thing called Sunbiz down here in Florida. You must check to see that they have a valid business
A valid business license.
that's up to date and everything else.
Yeah.
Because if it's not up to date, they're still doing business, it means that they're doing it yucky, that they're not really honest brokers. In fact, we have a business called Picturus, and I do photography, events and so forth for Picturus. Picturus is really a company designed to employ the developmentally disabled. It's a for-profit company, but we're not making the profit. The profit is actually invested in supplying disabled people with job opportunities. So that's, and when I say we, because I work with my wife, but it's her company. All right, she's the one in charge. When, back in the day, I owned a very large software company, right?
Yeah, you did.
Who'd you work for?
Work for Rich.
What type of boss was I?
Very good boss.
Were there any fringe benefits?
Always.
Yeah, we can't talk about those. But anyways, what we're telling you is that here in Florida, you got
to be very careful.
Be very, very careful. And there's not a person that you can. Oh, by the way, I'd love to hear your horror stories. So if you've had a contractual horror story, feel free to place it in the chat below. And if you would do us a favor and just subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe. That would be great for us. And if you want, I do a lot of science videos, but I haven't because I don't think people are interested in them. I'd love to do science videos. You know what was interesting? I was thinking about this in terms of AI. And one of the science videos that I wanted to do was why it is that two sperm can't penetrate an egg. And around the egg of a cell is this thing called the zona pellucida. And the sperm has to penetrate the zona pellucida. But the way I remember that name, zona pellucida, is by saying zona palooza, which makes it sound like a party. And that's how I've remembered the name, because there are a lot of very hard scientific names in biology.
It's another language.
Yeah, and what I found so interesting was that the way we remember things is by creating additional connections, not by reducing the amount that we have to remember, not by summarizing it, but actually by increasing the amount of knowledge
that you know about.
that is associated with that word and that thing that you need to know.
And it helps you remember
and if
better.
there isn't anything that's associated with that word, we have to build associations in order to strengthen the neural networks. And
It works.
it definitely works, but it's such, it's so paradoxical that in order to remember things, you have to learn more things that you need to remember. And the more you remember, the better your memory is, because you have more things to hang on that memory. That's why education is so important. And we're going to have to start talking. We know a lot about education. So if there are parents out there, leave a comment below, because tell them about my math program.
Yeah, Rich has a wonderful, he created a wonderful math program to help youngsters with their multiplication tables.
And if-
And consistently used for even small kids. Use it consistently they will learn their multiplication tables and will
month.
really give them
30 days, 15
really
minutes
give
a
them
day.
heads up in school.
Oh, you have no idea. The criteria for them being able to use this, there is one criteria. They have to be able to add. And when I mean add and carry. So if it's 7 plus 7, if it's 7 times 7, they need to write 7 times, and they need to be able to add it up in a column and come up with 49. They need to be able to do that. So that's the one caveat to that particular program. But lots of kids can do that, and if they can do that, then within 30 days you're going to give them something that's going to enable them.
For a lifetime. Yeah.
One of the biggest problems that we're having is we're just not keeping up with other countries.
No, we're not, because we're too busy teaching about.
Well, let's not talk about.
Social.
Let's not get into the politics of it. Let's just talk about math and science, because I hate talking about politics because we have some differences. Anyways, India, in 12th grade, they're having their students take tests on fluid dynamics and physics that would blow many, many college students away that are majoring in physics. So
And that's 12th grade.
And that's 12th grade. We are so far behind. We've really got to do stuff. Anyways, on that note, let's just leave it here.
Okay.
We've really enjoyed spending our time with you, and we hope you've enjoyed spending your time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye-bye.